Shedeur Sanders predicted to win heated Browns QB1 battle in training camp over Kenny Pickett and company. Every offseason has a story that dominates the conversation. In 2025, no storyline captured more attention than Shedeur Sanders' shocking fall in the NFL draft. The buzz around his slide became so intense that it completely overshadowed the quarterback the Cleveland Browns had quietly selected 2 rounds earlier. Now, Cleveland enters the 2025 season with a 4-way quarterback battle that nobody saw coming. Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, and Sanders. While reports have painted different pictures of who leads the competition, the latest projections suggest Sanders might pull off the ultimate surprise by winning the starting job. Can Shedeur Sanders actually win Cleveland's starting job? Since Sanders entered the NFL, his name has stayed in the headlines for 2.5 months straight. That level of attention followed him from his Colorado days, where he played under his father, Deion Sanders. However, the media frenzy only intensified after he tumbled to the 5th round of the draft. The reports coming out of Cleveland paint a confusing picture. Some insiders believe Sanders is making real progress and will earn a legitimate shot during the preseason. Others suggest he's sliding toward being the team's 4th quarterback when the regular season begins. Meanwhile, a PFSN article featuring bold predictions for each team ahead of training camp made waves by selecting Sanders as Cleveland's starting quarterback. Jacob Infante explained his reasoning. This is probably the boldest choice of them all. However, Kenny Pickett is proven as a backup caliber QB in the NFL, not a starter. Joe Flacco showed some rust last season and isn't getting any younger. If it came down to the Cleveland Browns' 2 rookie quarterbacks, Shedeur Sanders could be a more appealing option than Dillon Gabriel based on college tape. If this prediction becomes reality, it would rank among the biggest preseason surprises in recent memory. Fans across the league have been waiting to see Sanders take the field after months of constant headlines. Every Browns game would transform into must-watch television, not just for Cleveland fans, but for the entire NFL. The move might genuinely represent the best path forward for Cleveland. The scrutiny surrounding Sanders extends beyond football. He faced harsh criticism for his attitude during the pre-draft process, with his character repeatedly questioned. These concerns created a target on his back that has only grown larger. Recent traffic violations haven't helped his public image either. Despite the off-field noise, Sanders was widely considered the second-best quarterback in his draft class based purely on his college performance. Playing it safe might lower expectations, but it also limits the team's upside. Sanders brings something completely different to a franchise that has struggled to find quarterback stability with Deshaun Watson since 2022. This quarterback battle will be the most closely watched storyline throughout the entire preseason. Regardless of which player Cleveland ultimately chooses, the decision will trigger passionate reactions from fans across the league. However, few outcomes would generate more buzz or intrigue than Sanders somehow emerging as the starter. The sun beat down on the practice fields in Berea, Ohio, as if it, too, was curious to see who would emerge from the Cleveland Browns quarterback carousel. The whistle blew. Helmets clashed. And somewhere within the chaos of training camp, a young man named Shedeur Sanders began rewriting a script that many thought was already finished. Nobody expected this, not really. When the Browns traded for Kenny Pickett, when they flirted with veterans and brought in 2 more developmental arms, the assumption was simple. The rookie would sit, learn, and wait his turn. But then the practices started. Then the zip of Shedeur's passes began slicing through the humid air like lightning. Then the whispers began, growing louder with every rep. "He's different," one assistant coach said under his breath after a particularly daring throw. It was a throw he wasn't supposed to attempt, a sideline laser between 2 defenders, the kind that makes offensive coordinators scold young quarterbacks in film sessions. But Sanders didn't just attempt it. He completed it, with such timing that the receiver barely had to break stride. By the 2nd week of camp, Kenny Pickett's name wasn't the only one on the lips of Browns fans. The crowd lining the practice fences began chanting softly, then louder. "Shedeur! Shedeur!" It wasn't just the physical gifts, though those were obvious. The quick release, the uncanny accuracy on the move, the confidence that dripped off him even when he was sprinting for his life in red zone drills. What set Sanders apart was his presence. When he broke the huddle, the other 10 men didn't just jog to their spots. They moved like soldiers who believed in their commander. When Pickett or the other hopefuls took reps, the offense looked competent, functional. But when Shedeur stepped under center, there was a spark. The receivers ran sharper routes. The linemen dug deeper into their stances. Even the running backs seemed to churn a little harder through imaginary tackles. That's the thing about a quarterback battle. Sometimes it isn't just about stats on a clipboard. It's about the unmeasurable, a feeling in the air, a belief that the man leading you can do more than just manage a game. By late July, reports leaked from camp that Shedeur had taken the majority of first-team reps during the morning session. Pickett watched from behind, helmet in hand, jaw set tight. He'd been through battles before, had beaten out competition in Pittsburgh. But this felt different. He just doesn't play like a rookie, one veteran receiver told a reporter after practice. The way he moves through progressions, the way he talks to us in the huddle, it's like he's been doing this 5-6 years. Even in scrimmages, when defensive linemen snarled and the crowd roared, Sanders kept that same calm rhythm. He'd step up, dodge a rusher, flick his wrist, and hit a tight end streaking down the seam. He'd see the blitz pre-snap, adjust protections with a quick signal, and then punish the defense with a hot route that turned into a 40-yard gain. The Browns' front office, meanwhile, watched with growing fascination. They hadn't expected this timeline. Sanders was supposed to be the future, not the now. But football doesn't care about schedules. Football rewards whoever seizes the moment. At one point during a steamy August afternoon, head coach Kevin Stefanski called for a 2-minute drill. The defense stacked the line, hungry to fluster the rookie. Sanders took the snap, eyes scanning like radar. He hit his slot receiver, sprinted to the line, spiked the ball, then hit a deep comeback on the sideline. The clock ticked. The crowd counted down. And with 7 seconds left, Sanders stepped into a collapsing pocket and floated a perfect spiral into the corner of the end zone, right over the outstretched fingertips of the safety and into his receiver's hands. Touchdown. The field erupted. Pickett jogged to congratulate him, but the look in his eyes was telling. He knew. Everyone knew.